Well, hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to Crafty Chemist. What's everybody doing today? Say hello if you're on. I'm going to share this to the group real quick. Okay, there we go. I shared it to the group. It should be coming soon. Real quick. Okay, there we go. I don't know why this light keeps going out. I'm not going to touch that at all. So today, what did I do? I went to the Renaissance Fair. I had a fun day at the Renaissance Fair. I went with Megan and Ellie and Monroe. It was Monroe's first time at the fair. I'm not sure whether or not he had a good time, but I think so. Ellie had a good time. So if you're on, say hello so I know you're here. And tell me what you did today. Hi, Julie. Hi, Mom. Mom, it sounded like a dog was whining. That's not Darcy? It didn't sound like Darcy. Was that the TV? Hi, Jeannie. So as I was saying, I went to the Renaissance Fair in Bristol, Wisconsin. It was fun. I love to go to the Renaissance Fair. It's a little bit different with the little kids. You know, we just took it slow and walked around and enjoyed the scenery. We had some food. We watched the joust a little bit. We watched the queen in her court a little bit. Ellie played with the fairies. They've got these random fairies walking around to interact with like their guests and things. It was kind of fun, but she was enthralled by that. Oh, it was a TikTok. I could hear it down here. My gosh, you must have your phone on full blast because I heard it down here. So what was the weather like by you? I mean, here it was actually a little bit chilly. I brought a wrap in case it was, too cold. But hopefully, starting in the, next year, the year after, I think next year Ellie will be even more interested in things, and then it'll just get more and more from there. But we went to the Renaissance Fair every year when the girls were growing up. They loved it. So I'm glad to see the grandkids enjoying it too. So today, we are going to be making these, I'm calling them herringbone cards because they kind of, look like a herringbone. I don't know. This one is maybe a little bit more of a herringbone pattern, but it looked a little bit too random for me. This one, I kind of like the look better. But I think this is a true herringbone. This looks good. Over here, I thought it kind of lost the herringbone look. So anyway, I'm going to do this one. Maybe I'll try this one again because it goes very fast. So maybe we'll make both of them do it both ways. So this is what we're going to be making. I am using the Painterly Pears. Let's see, is this called? Yeah, Painterly Pears. The paper is called Painterly Pears. the stamp set is called Perfectly Pears. Yeah, you have the windows open, cool sort of breeze. That's the kind of day it was here too. So let's look at this paper because this is absolutely gorgeous. And I have seen so many gorgeous cards made with this. I'm going to make a few more samples and just post, or I might make, you know, make TikToks or Instagram reels on it, and I'll post it in the group. Because there's just too many good ideas with this. But I wanted to feature the paper, and I've been wanting to do this herringbone look for a while, and I thought this was a great paper to do it with because I don't know if you can see, but the paper, all the paper is kind of varied. Like there's a pretty much a totally green one. There's a white background one with a little bit of yellow. There's a black background one with a little bit of yellow. There's a yellow background with, you know, colored flowers. White, well, this is maybe like a mink background with some green leaves. So you get the idea, like all of the paper was different. And so I thought it would be a really perfect paper to do this technique. And that's why I finally decided I was going to do the herringbone technique this week with this paper because, you know, I thought it fit well. So here's one sheet, so beautiful. And then the back is that like Mossy Meadow. Let me see what the colors actually are. The colors are Basic Beige, Darling Duckling, Mossy Meadow, Old Olive, Petal Pink, and Secret Sea. Okay, so this is the Mossy Meadow and Old Olive. This is the Darling Duckling. Look at this. I mean, this is gorgeous. This looks like it could be a beautiful wedding card, even though it's got pears on it. I mean, I think it's beautiful. I love this. And this, I said it was black, but actually I guess it's that Secret Sea. And that tells you how dark that Secret Sea color is. But look at the pears here with the flowers. I love it. And then the back is a Darling Duckling grid. But it's interesting because the grid, these lines are not straight. They're a little bit wonky. I don't know if you can see that, but each of those squares in there is a little bit different. Okay, and then there's this paper. And this is the paper that the dies do fit all of these. So you can use the die to cut this out, which is what I did here. And then these, and then this. So the dies do cut all of those out. Or you can use it as a background, but... And then look at this. This is gorgeous. Okay, I think we looked at this one. Yeah, we looked at that one. We looked at this one. And this one. Here's, you can see the full sheet of that. Okay, this one, look at that, the pretty petal pink. I think, didn't I say it was petal pink, or was it pretty in pink? Yeah, petal pink. The petal pink background. And then look at this. I do have, I'm going to do a one sheet wonder with this paper. Because I've got a great idea with this. I love the paper where it goes all the way around. This is actually also a good scrapbook paper, you know, one that you don't really need to do much. You can just put your like 4 pictures here and then be done. It's already decorated, but I am going to do a card with this. So that's why I'm saving these. And then this one has a Secret Sea grid paper, and again, the squares are wonky. Maybe you could see it better on the dark paper with the, looks like old olive lines. Let me see if I can tell on the screen. Yeah, you can definitely tell they're kind of wonky. And then this. This paper's so gorgeous. Okay, so if you want to craft along, I'm only using three sheets of paper, 3 sheets of my 12 by 12 paper. And then you want to choose paper that is, like I said, you know, different from the back and the front. So this one's got the Secret Sea background. And then it's got the Darling Duckling on this side. So this will make, right, 2 nice strips. These ones are different. It's got the Darling Duckling background and then the white background. And then this one is the like dark green Mossy Meadow. And then, you know, this. So pick some paper. You just need three different double-sided designs. And then this is kind of up to you, but I cut mine at 1/2 inch. Okay, I have seen some that are 1/4 inch. So you can maybe do that too. This is actually another great card you can make if you have a lot of zip strips from Close to My Heart. I've still got my box of zip strips here. So, you know, you could easily find ones that match, you know, go together or whatever, and then use these. Okay, I've got so many different ones. I kind of miss having zip strips. Well, this one would be pretty to use. Ooh, I like this one too. This is like the mail, like airmail. Anyway, this is a perfect card to use up some of your zip strips. And you can see I need to do that because look how many I have. I have a lot. Okay. So I cut mine at 1/2 inch. But like I said, it's open. You can make them a 1/4 inch. You may need more strips if you do a 1/4 inch. Okay, I'm doing 1/2 inch, and out of each of my 3 papers, I'm going to cut 2 strips at 1/2 inch. You know, one for the A side, and then one for the B side. Okay, so out of this one, I'll use this as the A side because it's got a lot more of the pears, and then I'll use this as the B side. And actually, that's really nice because it just so happened that I cut right down, like this strip is kind of right centered. I don't know, looks good. Okay, so I'm going to use those 2. And then this one, I'm going to cut 2. Use this. And another one. Okay, so let's see. Which one of these do we like? Okay, I'm going to use this one because it's got a little bit more color than this one. I'm going to use this side, and then I'll use this on this side. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I do like to look at it beforehand so that I'm using the best side. Okay, one of these, and then another one for the other side. Now, the only thing about this design that, I don't know, not that it's problematic, but since you're cutting it in strips, you do lose in here the fact that there's pears and things on the paper. Like here you can kind of tell there's pears, but really by the time we cut it up, you won't be able to tell that there's pears. So other card designs will kind of showcase, you know, those designs better, especially, you know, bigger pieces. Like I think like this one, this is beautiful, would be a beautiful, like basically the whole card front, you know, with a sentiment or something on it. But I love this color, the color combination of these. That's why I wanted to do these strips. Okay, let's see this one. I think I'm going to use this side and then this on this side. Okay. Okay, so you just need these 6 strips of whatever paper you want. And then we need we're going to make this part here. And the part where it is the herringbone actually started off a little bit bigger. It started off as the size of the black cardstock. And I'll show you why in a minute. So let's measure the black cardstock. It is 5 1/4, 4 by 5 1/4. So what you want to do is cut a piece of white cardstock. Or some spare cardstock that you no longer need, because you're not going to be seeing this. Okay, you're not going to see this, so it doesn't matter. But like I said, I'm using white. Okay, so I'm cutting it at 4 by 5 1/4. And now here's a tip if you're going to make these. I am going to use these adhesive sheets by Stampin' Up. Their number is 152334. So I'm going to cut this at 4 by 5 1/4 also. Let's see, I think this might be 4. Okay, and then 5 1/4. I bought this a while ago. I haven't really used it very much, but it's perfect for this project. If you don't have adhesive sheets, then what you want to do is put adhesive all over your cardstock. Cover it. Or another option is to take your glue, Tombow green glue, and then glue the pieces down. The problem with that is if you're putting the glue on here, it's really hard to gauge what part's going to be on the card front and what part's going to hang over. So sometimes you'll have like glue over here and the glue gets everywhere. If you're like me, the glue gets everywhere. So these work the best if you have it. So what I'm going to do is, so if you don't know about these adhesive sheets, basically it's double-sided adhesive and it has the backing sheet on both sides. So I'm going to stick this down right on top, really trying to get it right at the edges. So I only took off part of it. Okay, and then I'll take off the rest of this backing. Okay, just kind of do it slowly so it doesn't curl. Okay, and then the last one. But I recommend getting this. This is nice to have if you make small die cuts, then you don't have to try and put all the glue on the teeny tiny pieces. So okay, so this is how I'm putting my adhesive. I'm using this adhesive sheet. So I'm putting it down, and then I'm going to take the backing off. So now it's just going to be, this white sheet is just adhesive. Okay, pretty good. Now, I don't know if you can see on there. Let me see. It's covered pretty much. There's one spot right there. Maybe I don't know if this will get it. I'm just going to put adhesive right over that one spot. And this is just right on the, there you go. Right on where the backing, was butted up against it. There was just a couple spots where it looked like there wasn't any adhesive. Okay. So you've got that so far? If you want to buy some of these adhesive sheets, you can go to thecraftychemist.stampinup.net, and they're called adhesive sheets, and it's 152334. Okay, now here's the part that you want to think about. We're going to make this one first, okay? This is the one that I like visually the best, so this one. And so the first, you're going to put your first piece all the way across like this, and I started with like the most bold one. So I'm going to start with the green. And it doesn't matter where you put it or at what angle you put it. So I'm just going to put it like this. You want to make sure that the edges hang over a little bit. Okay. There we go. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to trim it up at the end, but when it's really long like this, it's nice to just kind of cut that. I'm going to leave that go. Okay, then the next thing you do is you put a strip this way, okay? And so here I put the white background, so let me do that. And you want to butt up this end right up against here. You don't want any of that adhesive like showing or anything. Okay. So let's cut this. Okay. And then we're going to put one piece right here. Okay, so I'm just going to try and follow this so you can follow along. And I will put it right about here. And again, I'm trying to butt this right up against there. Okay. Okay. So now we've got our start, and I'll cut this. Okay. If you aren't using the adhesive sheets, obviously at each one of these, I would be gluing, putting glue on the pieces and laying it down. Or you could put an adhesive tape runner. That's fine. That's fine too. Okay, but now you see we have 4 quadrants. And then like this one, I'm just going to make them all go the same, the same direction this way. Okay, so let's take this one. And I'm going to use this one next. And you want to butt it up here, and you want it to be right up against the edge of the next one, the one beside it. Okay, you really want to get them butted up against each other. Okay, and now I did this one. And what you want to do is you just want to make them like different colors. And that's why, like I said, I picked these 3 papers because all of the backgrounds were very, very different. So you're not going to have really 2 of the same colored backgrounds beside each other. So, so when you pick your paper, you want to think about that. Okay, let's put this one here. Okay, and then I did the secret sea background. Now you can see on this one, I obviously put this down a little bit farther because I think I could put two more here. So I'm going to go with this one. Now this one has an angled side and a flat side. So I'm going to put the flat side against here. Yeah, you can lose speed. Actually, on this one here, I ended up the adhesive didn't go right to the corner, so I did add a little bit of adhesive to that. But for the most part, everything stays on here. So these adhesive sheets make it really, really nice. Okay, so then I'm going to do this one because this is the only design that I haven't used. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can see I've got six sheets, so that none of them are the same. Okay, so now I'm going to trim And I'll trim from the back because it's easier to see a little bit. And it's okay, we're going to square up the card, so you can trim it with your scissors and it doesn't have to be perfect, so don't worry about that. That's why we made it a little bit bigger than what our end result's going to be. Now these you want to keep because we're going to use them again. Okay. Okay. So now let's do this one. And this one we're going to go this way. This is kind of how the herringbone is. If you know what a herringbone is, if you have seen herringbone floors, herringbone floors, they're like it's like almost like rickrack or I'm trying to think of the word, but it's you know, it goes like this. And so this one we're going to make the designs go this way. And so here I used this paper and went this way. Again, I'm butting it up against here and then against here. Okay. And then let me turn it this way to show you. I'm doing this side here. Now we're going to do the, looks like this one. Okay. Now this one, both edges are angled. So all I'm going to do is trim it. I mean, you can make it, you can do it with your scissors if you feel you can get a really nice 90-degree angle. I'm not so confident that I could do that, so I'm going to cut it with my cutter because you want this to butt up there really nice. Okay. Okay, now the darker one, and I do have, yes, I do have a straight one. Oops. Okay, now let's do a dark green. I've got a flat edge here. Okay, this one, okay, now this one, you can see neither end is flat, so, and you know, actually, while it's in here, I'm going to do both ends because I'm going to need to use the other end probably, so. Okay. So let's put this here. Make sure it's butted up right up against it. You don't want to see the white card in the back behind it. There we go. And then this one, and this one, there is a teeny bit of a space. I'm not going to put anything there because we are going to trim this 1/8 of an inch around, so I think that will be trimmed off. If not, we'll see if we can see it, and then I've got these like little bits I cut off. We can just use something like, you know, something like this and put it right on there if we need it. So let's trim this side. I mean, this is a really an easy card, but I think it packs a big punch. If you pick the right papers, right? I mean, I really think it's, I think this would be pretty in like a birthday, you know, birthday colors. Not, I mean, what are birthday colors? But I'm thinking like primary, like fun birthday balloon kind of things. Okay. So let's see. So we have this whole side complete. Now let's work on this side. So on this one, I'm going to make the strips go this way. Okay. But here you can kind of see the herringbone part of it. It's how they're coming together. But it's not really a true herringbone, but I think it close enough that it seems fine. Okay, so this one looks like we started with this, but now the edges aren't flat, so let's cut these. And this is the only thing, is if you reuse your pieces, you're going to have to make the flat edges. And again, if you're confident with your scissors, you can do it like that. Okay. So let's put this here. nice. Okay, this one, okay, I need to cut these ends off. And you want to make sure that it's, you know, 90 degrees. Okay, and then this one, and if you want, you can kind of turn it this way. I mean, I'm right-handed, so it makes it easier to do it like that. So I'm just following this. Okay, this one I do have a flat end, so let's butt this up. Okay, now the white. Okay, the white I don't have a flat end. Okay, the white here. And then the green, some green. And then I'll do a little bit of the yellow. Okay, we're done with our third quadrant. And again, I'm just going to trim this off. And you don't have to be very precise because we are going to square up the whole card after we're done. Okay, and we only have one quadrant left. So this one. And so this one, we're going to have the pieces going that direction. Okay, so I'm going to turn it this way so I can do it with my right hand. Okay, so we need the white. Okay, and I do have a flat end here. Well, I have this flat end and I like the flowers there, so. And you can just see I'm trying to alternate the colors, so no same colors beside each other. Okay, this one. Okay, we need to trim this so it's got a flat edge. I love the Secret C. I don't feel like I was right up against that. There we go. Okay, and then the green. Do I have some? Yeah, here's some green. And then the yellow flower, which is this one. Okay, and I don't know. Which one haven't I haven't used this one, but I don't think I need it, but let's make sure. Yeah, that's got some adhesive there. There we go. Okay, now let's trim this off. And we've got the whole card covered. Just trimming these edges. And you can see, I still have enough that would help with other cards. So I have the extra pieces from these 3 cards. I might be able to do a whole nother card with just my scraps. So I would save these. I'm not going to save these little bits, but I'll probably save these. Okay. So now I'm going to trim this down to square it up a little bit. Although, I mean, it's not too bad, but Julie says, for a more subtle background, monochromatic with varieties in the pattern. Yeah, so like you could do all cherry cobbler and different patterns. It would be really cute for a Christmas card, I think. Okay, so we're going to cut this down to 5 inches, 3 3/4. So 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And what you want to do is you want to take a little bit off of each end. So don't take the whole 1/4 inch off of one side, because what we're trying to do is get nice flat edges. Because I mean they're kind of flat, but I don't know if you can see that when it looks a little you know, just a little bit indented there. So let's cut off about 1/8 of an inch here. Okay, and then we're gonna cut it to the 3 3/4. I mean, and you can also cut this whatever size that you want, but if you want to make it like what I did, I'm cutting 1/8 off basically of each edge. And then let's make sure that remember that one corner that didn't have some? Okay, I think it's perfect. Yeah. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, now this one, I did actually use black, but it's Secret Sea. Do you think I should use Secret Sea? Let me get a piece of Secret Sea. So I do have some Secret Sea. It's one of the 2025, 2027 in colors. So here it is. I mean, I don't know. I think I kind of like I mean, that is... Let's compare. What do you think? This looks black to me. This looks Secret Sea. Yeah, paper quilt. Quilting and card making are very similar. So here's the black again. I think I'm going to go with the black. I like the black better than the Secret Sea. But it says that Secret Sea is in that design, so... Okay. So this is 4 by 5 1/4, remember. So let's cut this 4 by 5 1/4. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is mount this on onto the black. Okay. And so you can see you don't really see that white background, so that's why I said you can use any kind of scrap paper that you want. However, if you're not careful about butting them up against each other, you might see through it. So don't use like neon pink or something like that, because you might be able to see that through. Okay, let's just put that on there. Okay, and now I used Old Olive for the card base. And so I'm going to cut this at 5 1/2. Okay. And then I will, let's see. Where's my bone folder? I know, I heard it fall out. Well, my bone folder is lost in my mess of stuff, so I'm going to use my one from my scoreboard. And I'm just going to fold this in half. You could score it at 4 1/4. I find that for a card base, I don't mind doing it this way because I find it's more exact. If I score it at 4 1/4, sometimes my cutter, I don't know, it's not right and it's not perfectly centered. So I like to fold it in half and then score it. Okay. Now we're just going to adhere this to the card front. And then the card's going to open this way. Well, that's how I'm going to have it open. So I'm going to put my favorite quadrants over on this side because I'm going to put the pear over there. Okay, so let's adhere this down. Okay. Okay. And then since my card base is dark, I'm going to put a piece of basic white under there. So I'm going to cut that at 4 by 5 1/4. If you used a white card base, then obviously you wouldn't have to do this. Okay, and let's put that inside. And if you want, you could stamp a sentiment in there before you adhere it down, or you could wait until you're ready to send it to see what kind of sentiment you want inside. That's usually what I do. Okay. Now for these two, I used the dies. Oh, you use text. Okay, so like you use like printer paper for that. That would be nice. Okay, so for this one, for these, I cut out the pears from here. Okay, so like this, you can see fits here. And then this fits here. And also, if you want, this fits here. If you wanted to add, you know, the 2 pairs, you could do that too. So these do fit the paper. I love, love, love that about Stampin' Up! That the dies cut out the paper sometimes. Not all the time, but you know, sometimes. Okay, this time I thought we might try and stamp it because I didn't stamp any, but I do have the stamp set. I wanted to try the stamp set. Because a demonstrator posted in the demonstrator group, and I printed it out. She tried all different color combinations for the pears, depending on what kind of pear you want to make, right? We have different kind of pears. We've got pears that are like green. We've got pears that are like this gold with some pink or red colors around it. So I thought that let's try some color combinations. Now, I will tell you, I do not have all of these colors, Stampin' Up! Colors. So I brought out my Close to My Heart colors that I thought were similar. So these are kind of the ones that I brought out. I thought this for the wood. But so like, which one do you think? Which combo should we try? I kind of like this one, Darling Duckling and Pumpkin Pie is what I was thinking. So I was thinking like canary and the pumpkin. You want to try that one? I will post this in the group. Her name is, and I wrote it down so I can give her credit, Sally Poole. Sally Poole did this, which was very helpful. So I thought we'd try it out. So let's try canary and pumpkin. And we'll do the ones that we like the best. But like I said, these are not the Stampin' Up! Colors that she used. We're trying to do it with similar Close to My Heart colors. I have Darling Duckling and Mossy Meadow, but those are the only two that she had that she used. Okay, so let's try canary. And I haven't used this stamp yet either, so I don't know how it's going to stamp. But and she did a really great job. Actually, maybe I should use my Misty to get it, because she did a great job getting it right over each other. So if I can't get this first one, if it's off center, I'll get my Misty out. Okay, so now we're going to do it with the orange. And it doesn't say like stamped off or anything like that. So let's see how we do. Sorry if my head's in the way a little bit. Oh, that's not bad. It's a little bit more orange than hers. She might have maybe did like a rock and roll technique. Let's try it with a rock and roll. But that's not too bad. Okay, so let's try it again. Yeah. And let's just kind of get the pumpkin around the edges. Okay, let's see how this goes. Oh yeah, that's good. What do you think about that one? So this is canary and pumpkin. I love that. Okay, so that one was this one. Darling Duncan and Pumpkin Pie. Let's try the Darling Duckling and an Old Olive. So a yellow with the green. What do you think? So this is a pumpkin. Let's find one of the green. And I'm thinking, let's see, what did I pick? I picked avocado. So let's try this one. I do think that we just kind of rocked and rolled it. Okay, so this is my Darling Duckling dupe. And then let's just kind of rock and roll over the avocado. Oh, it's not too bad yet. My favorite is that one. Any other combination you want me to try? Yeah, it looks ripe enough to eat. It does. I like this. This is Real Red and Cherry Cobbler. I don't know. I've got Scarlet, Daffodil Delight, and Strawberry Slush. I think I have Strawberry Slush. I can do that one. Darling Duckling and Strawberry Slush. That's this one here. So let's try this one. Yeah, I like that second one. Okay, so here's Darling Duckling. And you know, these this stamp is not, how do I say, like, it's supposed to have defects like that, if that makes sense. I mean, you can see that how they have it too. It's very similar to mine. Now let's do the strawberry slush. And again, I'm just going to rock and roll it around the edges. And actually that one was a little bit too much. I'm going to wipe some of that off. And you know, you can even maybe use a dauber, a finger dauber, to just daub it on there. Okay, so let's try this. Not loving that quite as much because it, well, I mean, theirs looks like they did that. Let's try one more time. I think that first one was, or the second one's going to be my favorite, but what if I rock and roll it while it's on there? I don't like to mix my colors, but let's try that. Okay. Not loving that one as much. But, you know. Okay, now this one I think is interesting. It's Old Olive and Pecan Pie. So I thought we'd do the avocado, and then I think I brought toffee. Did I bring toffee? I brought almond. I usually use toffee for almond, so let's try that. Let's see. Okay, so this is the green. So we're going to make a green pear. Did I wipe that off? Okay. Okay, this is kind of my Old Olive, but it's avocado. And then let's just try the toffee. And then we'll pick. Yeah, pick on your assembled background. That's true. But, you know, I love the pink popping through here. So, I mean, I kind of like that. But I do think that this one might be good. So, let's see. Okay, here's a toffee. Let's see how this does. But anyway, experiment, right? Just experiment with some of these. That's not too bad. You can't see much of the toffee on there, though. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I just wanted to play around with these. I will post this in the group. If you're not a member of the group, it's the Crafty Chemist Presents Stampin' Up. And I'll post this in. I don't want to post it on my business page because it is by somebody else. Another demonstrator created it, right? So, oh, you know, one thing we didn't do is I didn't stamp the twig. Okay, also there is an outline, so let's do the outline. Wait a minute. Okay. I'm going to use black. And we'll test it on one of these before I do it on the one that I want to actually use. Nice. Okay, let's try. Okay, I think I got it. Okay, I mean, these are, excuse me, these are all good enough that I would use all of these, but there are some that I like more than others. Okay, like I do like that one, and this is my favorite, so I'm going to try and do good on this one because, okay, there we go. Okay, now let's do the twig and the leaf. Okay, here we go. And I think I'm going to use I did bring out, let's see, New England Ivy. We'll see how we like that one. Oh, it's too dark. It's almost black. Let's do the avocado. What's the other green that I have here? Oh, green apple. I do have Mossy Meadow I could use. But, you know, I wanted to show you how you could play around with these pears. So if you want to do easy, you can just cut it out of the paper like I did on, I feel like that one part is not getting inked up or what? There we go. You know, you can cut them out of the paper like this if you want. Or do this. You experiment. Okay, then there is an outline for this. Let's see. So that's going to be with the black. I'm going to practice on this one. Okay. Okay, not too bad with that. And you know what I think I'm going to do is, I'm going to get a brown marker and color in the twig brown, because I want it to be brown. I've got, let's see, what color is this? Bronze. So let's see how this does. I don't know, it might not. Let's see, let me test it out over here. I don't know that it added that much, but we got it. Okay, so now let's cut these out. Let's do what Julie said and pick the one we like based on our card. So here's our card base. Which one do you like? I really like the ones with the pink in it. So I am going to cut that one out. Although this one's good too. Okay. You can washi tape this down if you want. You can also make a template that you can use to really get it cut perfectly. And I've shown that before. Maybe I'll do a Technique Tuesday or whatever to show you how to do that again, because it's been a while. Okay, so that's not too bad. We got that. And now let's cut out the twig. Okay. I definitely think I prefer the twig cut from the paper because it's definitely brown and green. Although, you know, what you could do is you could be careful when you color it with your ink onto your stamp and try and use a dauber and get, you know, get the green on the leaf and then the stem blue. I mean, brown. Okay, one other thing is I didn't use it before, but there's this really fun dye, which I didn't really notice until I've seen people use it on cards. I'm just going to cut it out of gold. I don't even know if that's the best color for this, but I wanted to show you. And actually, you know, I think I'm going to let's put some adhesive sheet. Actually, I'm going to cut this in half before I do that. Well, because that might be hard to tape down. And one more. I just wanted to show you this die because I really like it, and I'm going to use it on other cards too. Okay. So that's, okay, let's cut this out. I just thought this was fun and different. Okay. And then get these little pieces out of here. Although actually you could probably use those pieces on other things because they've got adhesive on the back of them. Sounds like they're having a party upstairs in my house. Okay. I don't know if you can hear those guys laughing up there. Okay, let's see. Let's get this out of here. I love that Stampin' Up! Dies have these little holes that you can poke them out of. Okay, so let's put this in here. There's also, I want to point out a couple of sentiment shapes that, you know, that you can stamp your sentiments on. Okay. Okay, let's get these back out here. Here's my card. And this is the one I'm going to kind of, oh, I didn't take the adhesive off of this side. Let me see if I can, it's going to stick down, so I'm not too worried about it, but there we go. There we go. Okay. I do need some dimensionals to put my pears. Okay, I've got some dimensionals. Let's first do our sentiment. Now for this one, I used, have you guys seen this more messages stamp and die? So it's this die that cuts out all of these. So you stamp one time and then you use this die and it cuts out all of those sentiments, and then you can put a whole bunch of sentiments in your in a bag and you can have them ready. Or you can just cut use the die on a white piece of paper and cut out the shapes and then have them ready for whatever sentiment you want. So these are just blank. And so, let's see what we have. So the sentiments in this set are thank you, hello, congratulations, a good friend is a gift. So let's see. Let's see, a good friend. Let's see if we can find one that fits a good friend as a gift, because I didn't use that one yet. I did hello and congratulations. I really like the font on this one. I like the, this one isn't too bad. Okay, this one will fit on there really nicely. Okay, let's use this one. Again, it's nice to just have these already cut out. You don't have to mess with it. Because this one I'm going to put right down onto the card. And then we'll pop up the pear. So I want to have this down first. A good friend is a gift. And I'm going to put it slightly to the right because I'm going to put the pear over it. So I want a little bit of white space to the left. Not much, but a little. Okay. This has got some nice sentiments. And you know what I think? What I think about this is, it says a good friend is a gift, and with these pears, does anybody ever send the, what's that company that has, that you can send all the pears? Okay. So I'm going to put it right about there. And again, this one's going to go right on the card base. So I'm going to put adhesive on it. Harry and David. Harry and David's what I'm thinking about. Okay. So I'm going to put this here. Okay. And then I don't even know if you'll be able to see it, but I'm going to put this kind of right up like that against it. And then pop this up. Here's my dimensionals. I wasn't going to put a fourth one, but it came off. So, I mean, you guys know I am crazy with my adhesive and dimensionals, but I was only going to do 3. But okay. There, and then let's put this up here. And I got my mini dimensionals. And what I'm going to do is just at the very tip here, I'm going to put some adhesive so that it will stick to the top of my pear. Okay, there we go. Oh, I didn't take the back end off of these. There we go. Now on these ones, I used these gems. Let me see, I have the gems right here somewhere, but in my crafter math, I don't know where they, oh, here they are. I used these gems, and these are actually from the market, like the 2 market set. So I actually used these clear ones. You could use the green ones, but since I put the gold mesh thing back here, I'm not going to put any gems because that's enough shine, sparkle. Yeah, this is a cool die. That's why I wanted to show it. Like, I didn't use it on these other ones, but, and it, I mean, this might not be the best place, this kind of, with all the, you know, there's a lot going on in the background, but I wanted to show it to you, so I put it on there. Okay, there we go. Keep an eye out. I will post this graphic in my group. I'll post it in the group. Okay. Next week, I am going to be doing something special from the Minnesota State Fair, so stay tuned for that. And is this the last? Let me see. This. Okay, next Sunday is the 31st. We have one more week for the sketch challenges. So if you haven't put a sample in the sketch challenges, make a project based on one of the sketches from August, and I'll put your name on the wheel to win a prize. Okay, any questions before I go? So let's look at these kind of up close. It's really, really pretty. I love this paper. Okay, if nothing, I will see you guys next week. Have a great week. Bye.